What a huge success. Amazing time had by one and all, to everyone who attended, exhibited, presented, and of course, the stellar NIGP staff. NIGP Forum 2023 in Louisville was all as expected and then some. What an incredible time there in the great state of Kentucky. This is your host, Bill Culhane. The Big Bid Theory is powered by Bid Prime and Beacon Bid. More on Beacon Bid in a moment. A quick turnaround on this episode after we just hit the streets. You remember it was a couple of weeks ago with you already know NIGP Forum Education Track Preview. How about, by the way, I'm a little biased, but how about that EdTrack panel there in Louisville? So smart, so professional. Also, by the way, thanks to our boss there at NIGP Forum, Charles Taylor from NIGP, did a masterful job in coordinating each of our 4 technology track sessions. On this installment, we'll take a quick glance back at some of the aforementioned excellence. Rick, before I do that speedy recap and mention our guest, you'll be happy to know, my friend, that the folks there in Louisville at Forum were highly, and I mean highly, excited about the TBBT t-shirts that we kind of gave a sneak peek at there the past couple episodes in the lead up to Louisville.
Yeah, no, I was kind of wondering when that was going to go up, so that's great to hear. You know, one of these days you're going to have to give me my own shirt. I really want one, and you guys have been busy.
Busy is probably the best word for my forum experience, from checking out Stephen Hetzel and Anna Barnett introduce RFP Critic. How amazing is that solution? But seeing them at the Innovation Theater, obviously moderating the tech track, already talked about that. Beacon Bid's Hot Raffle party at Guy Fieri's there on 4th Street. What an electric atmosphere. And that party's going to be, I predict, be remembered for many years to come. Each and every NIGP event I attended was so very well done, put together. I was able to swing by Beacon's Sip and See, what was that, on Tuesday, and got a glimpse at them introducing RFP Builder and RFP Critic. The bid writing process is forever changed, quite frankly. So cool. I'm already looking forward to NIGP Forum 2024 there in Charlotte, North Carolina. Rick, we are looking forward to crazy bids a little bit later in this episode. What's on the horizon?
Well, what is on the horizon for this episode is, honestly, it's just going to be a good idea, and I can't believe that maybe this is a common thing, but I can't believe we don't see more of this going out. So, yeah, stay tuned. It's crazy, but also a really good idea.
Alrighty then, Rick. I speak for everyone. We are excited about that. Our guest coming up, more thoughts on NIGP Forum there in Louisville, but also Stephen Hetzel, co-founder and CEO of Beacon Bid, along with Josh Schwartzbeck, co-founder and CTO of Beacon Bid. You know the names and faces by now. They appeared with us from Boston, NIGP Forum, pretty much exactly a year ago. That was when Beacon Bid was in its infancy, just kind of launched. Now, almost, exactly a year later, we've asked them to come back to recap the past 12 months, share what's been going on, take a look at the present. I already mentioned RFP Critic, RFP Builder. Also talk about the future. Maybe we can convince Stephen or Josh to tell us what's ahead. But first, these messages from some other familiar names.
The Big Bid Theory is powered by Bid Prime and Beacon. Well over a decade plus in business, Bid Prime is the premier technology in the industry. Real-time bid notifications, supporting documents, doc search, robust data tools, and more. All backed by unmatched personalized customer support. For a free, no-obligation trial, go to bidprime.com. Are you looking to get more bidders and write better RFPs more quickly? Beacon helps municipalities overcome challenges in the process and increase supplier participation. Agencies are using Beacon to publish and distribute solicitations, along with communicating updates to plan holders. eBid allows bidders to easily submit responses and agencies to collect them for evaluation. Also, Beacon is the place for access to the RFP archive, a massive searchable database of previously published RFPs to more quickly write better RFPs. To learn more, visit beaconbid.com.
All right, Rick, thanks for pushing that button. Only back in Austin for today, this day. I got in last night. We got in this morning, or recorded this episode, and then I'll be back on the road. So here they are, Stephen Hetzel and Josh Schwartzbeck. Welcome to the video version of the Big Bid Theory. For those of you who are tuned in over on your favorite audio podcast platform, as I just mentioned, we're doing kind of a recap of NIGP Forum 2023, our trip to Louisville. It was a tremendous event all around, to include the Big Bid Theory. A lot of excitement surrounding the podcast. And as I had promised on the previous episode, many of you recall, we did hand out the t-shirts. They were well received. Thanks to everybody who weighed in, suggestions for the show in terms of topics, guests, etc. But now, some familiar faces for you, especially for you folks who were tuned in when we were over in Boston exactly 1 year ago. We've now returned from Louisville, and I welcome in Stephen Hetzel, who is the CEO of Beacon, and Josh Schwartzbeck, the CTO of Beacon Bid, also with us as we've returned from Louisville. Everybody's back home safe and sound. And so, first of all, gentlemen, before we get started here, thanks for joining us again.
Thank you, Bill, and thanks for the t-shirt too. So appreciate it.
That's right. Stephen is sporting one of the now famous TBBT t-shirts. There you go, Stephen. Appreciate that plug for the TBBT t-shirt. So let's roll up our sleeves here. Let's get started. First of all, just some general comments. Stephen, your overall impressions of NIGP Forum 2023. What did you think of Louisville? Just kind of give us an aerial overview.
Sure, Bill. Well, it was my first time in Louisville, and it was great. Getting away from the Texas heat was actually really nice for us. And everything seemed a little bit bigger and busier than last year too, at least last year in Boston, or at least maybe it just we were more busy. I'm not sure. But from the expo days, from the Innovation Theater unveiling, the NIGP social, our own exclusive Beacon Bid Prime event, which had a little more turnout than we had expected, actually. But seeing you moderate on stage was really cool too. That's something that was a highlight for me. But overall, it was a wonderful experience.
And Josh, same question.
Thanks, Bill. It was also my first time in Louisville. I came in a bit early and got to go explore the old Louisville area, which I'd highly recommend doing. The NIGP Forum always brings the best people. I always have the best conversations and learn from the nicest people. And I thoroughly enjoyed talking to a really diverse group and getting all kinds of ideas and feedback.
Yeah, a lot of passionate people were there, just like we experienced a year ago. And for that matter, anytime we're out on the road, anytime we go to these events, it's really inspiring in many ways to see the talented, professional, passionate people out there. So no doubt. Now let's talk about maybe some more specifics when it comes to the show, what's been going on with Beacon Bid. Stephen, over the past 12 months, I just kind of touched upon it. You've probably kept your suitcases packed there. You've had hundreds of conversations. I know phone calls. You've been speaking with many people across agencies from sea to shining sea. What have you and your team learned in that time as far as the inner workings, the needs, the expectations from agencies out there?
Well, I would say that with the inner workings of the agency, that so many are different. They're at different stages in their development, their procurement processes. Many are still faced with personnel losses, maybe that happened over the last few years. In some ways, that forced them to shake up the status quo, and it was good, kind of forced modernization for some agencies. But in other ways, with the bad, there were some of the forced moderation led to some quick and dirty, as we call it, methods that happened to stick with the agency. So I noticed a lot of departments who tell us that they're still lacking enough people. They're trying to hire and train new staff. And that's something where we've really resonated with our message about adding efficiencies, cutting through the processes, cutting things down to 20 minutes, what used to take 15 hours, like researching and building specifications. So, and maybe another observation would be like how connected and supportive that the procurement community is. It's something we've really witnessed a lot in the last year. A lot of referrals, a lot of our connections have spawned new connections and relationships for us.
Josh, going back to Boston, which was 12 months ago, I got to meet a number of people there at the Beacon Bid booth. And I know you and your team, there were some unknowns to include how RFP Archive would be received, what kind of excitement there would be around that tool. And I was absolutely blown away. I'm not easily blown away, but it was incredible to see the excitement surrounding RFP Archive. So I'm going to hit you with a two-part question here, Josh. For those folks tuned in right now who maybe aren't familiar with RFP Archive, if you could tell us just a little bit about us, then why do you believe there's been this enormous, incredible response from government agency people out there to this technology?
Yeah, well, to be honest, Bill, in Boston, we weren't really expecting the level of interest that we had in RFP Archive. We got a whole bunch of tools for e-procurement and researching and procurement creation, but everybody just wanted to come check out RFP Archive, and we realized the industry really appreciates tools that work more intelligently alongside them. Back when we had started Beacon, we'd already collected decades worth of procurement documents. So we were sitting on this big trove of procurement documents and having thousands more coming in every single day. We thought it might be useful for agencies to search through the contents and preview them without having to download and open each file, so they can more quickly do research and build up their own procurement specs. We learned a lot in Boston about how people wanted to use something like this. And since then, we've been innovating on top of it and adding more features to it. For now, we're doubling down on the RFP Archive suite to bring more functionality.
Stephen, a year ago, you touched upon the product roadmap for Beacon Bid going forward. And I know we've turned many pages on the calendar since then. And incidentally, we will hear about RFP Critic later. But how has Beacon grown in terms of technology, tools, support offered to agency? I know there have been a lot of moving parts since you left Beantown.
Right. And I'm excited to talk about RFP Critic, but I guess we'll get to that later. Josh and I have always treated the product roadmap as a gradient. So the next quarter is defined concretely, but as we go out further, the concepts are there, but we're open to tweaking and refining it as we go. That's always allowed us to really adapt quickly, to turn on a dime. It's really made us, I think, really unique with our past experience. I think it's where a lot of SaaS companies kind of go wrong, is committing adamantly to a product plan where there's like a one-way relationship, necessarily like not really taking feedback from agencies as we have done with Beacon. So that's not how Josh and I really work, or what led to BidPrime's ascendance to the largest bid research service. So it starts with a great idea, mission, and a goal. Which for us, that mission is being more efficient, more accessible, and really breaking loose and consolidating the existing status quo.
Can you kind of dive in a little deeper there, Stephen? What exactly do you mean by efficient and accessible? Can you share some examples?
Sure. With efficiency, I would say that it starts with agencies writing their projects, making fewer mistakes, fewer questions, fewer amendments, less confusion from suppliers by leveraging previously published templates. That's the stuff that RFP Archive has. We also, on our e-procurement side, helping them publish their solicitations easily and tracking them so that they can send them amendments and notifications to cut out the legwork that many of these agencies have to do when they're marketing their solicitations. For suppliers, efficiency is about reducing time, the steps that it takes to download or access or review documents. That's something we experienced a lot on the BidPrime side that really has helped us and guided our vision with Beacon. Things that took like maybe 20 or 60 minutes is what we've seen with steps to take to view documents, just to qualify a document, now take less than 90 seconds with Beacon. And a recent, I guess it was a webinar that we did, we were talking through the supplier experience with some of the procurement officials that were interested, and they were, I guess when they really put it in perspective, that suppliers have to follow these steps times 12, times 100, times 1,000, 10,000 if they work nationwide, or they have to pay somebody to do it. I think that proposition really connects a lot of dots for agencies. I think you mentioned accessibility too, so that kind of goes hand in hand with efficiency. Is about how easy do we make it to access. So again, we make it really easy for suppliers to access these solicitations. We understand that it's kind of a crowded space for e-procurement solutions, and some of them are good for some agencies. But if you're like a small 1 to 5 person department paying tens of thousands of dollars, investing in some ERP software that maybe has 100 widgets, buttons, different modules that you'll never use, it's a waste of taxpayer dollars. First off, it's overkill. It's confusing for the end user. And that's not what we do at Beacon. We really have focused on providing like a core free e-procurement service that accomplishes what most agencies out there really want and need, not necessarily like, an overkill solution. So for suppliers, accessibility, I mentioned, it's the same things, being able to access solicitations, ensuring that small businesses, minority, women-owned businesses, one-person companies, they're not like tricked into paying for some of the e-procurement systems that attempt to kind of make an extra buck at every turn possible. So that's something that really makes us distinct, and hopefully that I guess part of the reason here at Beacon we really try to shine a light on these to hope that a lot of these other e-procurement solutions follow the path toward the light instead of engaging in these dark patterns.
All right, lights and dark patterns. I guess we'll call that a little bit of a segue, Josh, as we go over to you. I understand that you just got home after spending, 4 or 5 days in Louisville. So I'm sure you're still going through your notes. But I also know you've spent a lot of time on the road as well, meeting with these agency representatives, whether it be procurement managers, procurement specialists. Duty title doesn't matter at all. So as you've engaged with these people from agencies, how has their direct feedback influenced the past, present, and I'll even say the future design and offerings from Beacon Bid?
Well, Bill, there's been so many changes that have been a direct result of the feedback we've gotten. It would take, a day to go through all of them. Real briefly, like I said before, the industry is just full of incredible people. We made all these connections with purchasing officers and other industry officials. They've given us one-on-one feedback, and we've worked directly with them to add in features around line items, around exporting, around auditing. As we demo the new features to them, we get feedback on which direction we should go. Should we pivot away from certain things? And by hearing all kinds of opinions, we've been able to build tools to solve the common shared problems among different agencies. And then we work on adding functionality to customize individual needs where we find opportunity there.
I can just throw this in, and certainly Josh and Stephen, for that matter, they don't need me to vouch for anything, echo for anything that's been said, but I can assure you that there are things in Beacon Bid today that I can see that are derivatives from specific conversations I've had with people while I've been on the road, direct feedback. So I know it surprises some people, quite frankly, that that's kind of the model that's being followed in development of Beacon Bid, but I assure you that your input, your feedback is taken into consideration. So Stephen, I see you sitting there patiently. I can tell that you're chomping at the bit. I did, of course, promise that you could cover RFP Critic there in Louisville. Just a tremendous positive, a palpable excitement surrounding RFP Critic. Stephen, explain.
Sure. I mean, this is something that we talked about really in the genesis of Beacon and RFP Archive, with having so many millions of bid templates already indexed. And in the last year, this technology has come a long way to help us. And we started showing this proof of concept of RFP Critic at some recent trade shows. And I saw the excitement in everyone's faces when showcasing the product. It's something that where even as a proof of concept, people who do this every single day really wanted their hands on immediately. So that kind of rushed some of our innovations to get the RFP Critic up and running over the last several months. And it's finally in a place where we can do that. We unveiled it at the Innovation Theater, which is a perfect place to show it, innovation. And we had a similar reaction at a large scale. And so it was really exciting to show it on the trade show floor too. A lot of people are really, really excited to use it.
Can you kind of take us behind the curtain, Stephen? Specifically, what is RFP Critic?
Yeah, I guess that's important. So it's a new beta platform where your solicitation draft can be uploaded and critiqued. So after you upload the draft, it's processed, and RFP Critic responds with an analysis of strengths, of weaknesses. It assesses the KPIs, your evaluation criteria that are written into the draft, and even makes suggestions toward the evaluation criteria. It also reviews the drafts for clarity, making sure there's no ambiguous or conflicting language that maybe would confuse a supplier on the other end. And a really neat tool, which is always exciting to see, is the prediction of the questions that bidders may ask. So all of this is really designed to reduce confusion, reduce amendments, reduce edits, so that agencies can answer the questions even before they're asked. Pretty neat.
Neat indeed, no doubt. Josh, going to take the ping pong ball back over to you. While we were in Louisville, Josh, I eavesdropped a few times, heard some conversations you were having with some visitors to the booth, talking about the intended design approach for Beacon. I know here during this episode, we've talked about the product roadmap. Well, a year ago, you used words like putting the most data in front of our customers, displaying relevant matches quickly and efficiently, deliver results from the largest network, making the entire service snippy, fast, streamlined. Have the results met the plan? What is your team hearing from agency users?
Yeah, Bill, after we launched Beacon, it became clear we're going to see a huge demand for RFP archives specifically. Coming back from Boston, we scaled up that document repository, both in terms of the number of documents and its capability to serve, thousands and thousands of users. And we had to do that in order to maintain the speed and usability that our customers have come to expect from us. One of the things that really sets us apart from a lot of the other systems out there is the simpleness, the intuitiveness, how effective it is, and the snippiness of the tools. And those are all the pillars of our design process. And we're making sure to take those into account as we're building out new e-bidding and contract management tools, as well as the AI features in order to help improve the procurement process, the procurement writing process.
Very good. And snippiness is paramount, I know, for many agency people out there. So, Stephen, going to hand the baton back to you. You can take this in whichever direction you so choose. What is the near future for Beacon Bid as you look at your calendar now that you're back home?
Let's see, how much time do I have? But that's the big question everyone's really been asking us. And usually coming out of every conference, we kind of have a jump start into our next big project. The next big thing in our pipeline is the evaluation module. We've had a lot of feedback from agencies using the platform, ones that are looking at using our platform, that we're trying to really make a process that will make sense for agencies. Agencies take it really seriously, like the evaluation component, as they should. And so we're kind of working right now to accommodate many of the agency partners' requirements to make sure that it's done well and done right. But we also have a lot more working on. So I'm sure that we will unveil it all in the next year when we talk, Bill.
Very good. We will stay tuned, and it's a date. We'll certainly circle it on the calendar. NIGP Forum 2024 from Charlotte, North Carolina. We'll certainly have Stephen and Josh back on to get the latest and greatest what's going on with Beacon Bid. Well, gentlemen, I'm quite confident that just getting home last night, you probably have a lot going on, a lot you need to do. But on behalf of our TBBT audience, everybody here at the show, thank you so much for guesting.
Thank you, Bill.
Such good stuff and so exciting. Anybody who's interested in technology, emerging technologies, the procurement process, some of you agency people out there listening, of course, a lot of times the conversations center around, we want more bidders, we need more bidders, we wish the bid writing process was easier, more streamlined. So anyway, really interesting. And by the way, thank you to Stephen and Josh. The Big Bid Theory, Crazy Bids, this show, I'm stating the obvious, but it wouldn't happen without the support and leadership from Stephen and Josh. See the episode description, and we'll have more info on what Stephen and Josh were kind enough to share. Rick, the baton is passed to you, my friend. Crazy Bids, fire away.
Picking up the baton. All right, let's go. So this episode's Crazy Bid, like I mentioned before, it's just going to be a really good idea. So, Bill, I've actually talked with you pretty recently. I adopted this sweet little, adorable little baby calico, and she's such a wonderful part of my life. She is amazing. But I picked her up from Austin Pets Alive, which is a great foundation here in town for helping people in this area just adopt animals, and APA takes very good care of them. Now, if you have worked in a animal shelter or like just where lots of animals are kept, you know certain things about what it's like to work there. So the thing that maybe people do this, I don't know, I'm not aware, but this actually went out for bid, and I thought, man, I cannot believe I didn't think about this idea whenever we're thinking about like what you can do to help out animal shelters. So this crazy bid comes from the town of North Providence in Rhode Island. The title of the bid is going to give it all away. Soundproofing Tri-County Animal Shelter. If you have ever been anywhere near an animal shelter, you know that some of those rooms are very, very loud with an absolute cacophony of barks and meows and all kinds of different animal sounds. So I found this from the town of North Providence, and basically, you know, they have a set of specifications, but honestly, you know exactly why this is out for bid, why this is just something that animal shelters really need some help with, among a lot of other things, I'm sure. But this was just a wonderful idea. They even give some like information. There's some information in their summary of work. And just basically like trying to mitigate some sound in 3 different rooms. And they actually mention like reverberation time, which is like how long something echoes for if you're in a room that has a lot of very like I guess like linoleum or tile or anything that's very reflective. Honestly, those can get very loud because the sound reflects. So basically what they are trying to do is that they got someone to help them out with checking out these reverberation times and figuring out how much it needs to go down. Honestly, they could have just written in the specifications, "It's too loud, please help us." So if you can help them out, and they probably need the help, if this is something that you can help them all out with, and you are on or around or can do business in the town of North Providence, Rhode Island, then that is going to be this episode's crazy bid that you can win.
All right. Again, great job as always by Rick and the research team. Sad to say, but only a few crazy bids remaining in season 9. That's right. It's hard to believe, but it'll be December before we know it. Okay. Off to San Diego, PWX 2023. I hope to see you there. Come by booth 846. Let's chat about the show. Want to talk about you, your agency, or business. I love meeting new friends. We all do. You can follow us on Twitter at The Big Bid Theory. My Twitter is contract_, that little underline, contract_hunter. We are also over on, try to stay active on Facebook, LinkedIn, and of course, the video version of this episode, you can find that on YouTube. You can find the interview with Stephen and Josh there on YouTube. Powered by Bid Prime and Beacon Bid. Again, thank you to all involved in some way with NIGP Forum 2023. Much appreciation to Stephen Hetzel and Josh Schwartzbeck for sharing the latest and greatest on Beacon Bid. Thank you, Rick. Thanks to our squad for being amazing. This is Bill Culhane. Until next time, go Gunners, Barracudas, Tigers, Bobcats, and Cubs, and we wish you the very best.
Powered by Bid Prime and Beacon, we thank you for tuning in to The Big Bid Theory. From Austin, Texas, the show is hosted by Bill Culhane, produced by Bill Culhane and Jim Ward, and co-hosted and engineered by Rick Jennings. Distribution, research, and production assistance by Lauren Jones. Among a variety of platforms, you can find other episodes of the show on iHeart, iTunes, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Play, and also YouTube. Thank you for downloading and sharing the podcast.
We're having so much fun.